Hey guys, Kingpin here. Welcome to the next episode of Franchise Mode. Today we're finally going to be finishing this first exhibit in the Primate Conservation Zoo. I think we've spent 3 episodes on it already. It's a massive build. In case you missed the last one, we added mandrills to the outdoor exhibit. We even had this viewing dome so the guests can get up close and personal to them. The exhibit turned out really nice. They've already had 2 babies and it's only been probably an hour or so of game time. I was watching a few videos on mandrill habitats before making the exhibit, and one of the videos I ended up watching was a top 50 on the least popular animals in this game, and mandrills actually ranked pretty highly on that list. I don't know why. I think they're really cool and interesting species. They don't need too much space and they're not that hard to take care of. They're a decent starting animal. Before we get started today, I'd like to ask you guys to like and subscribe if you haven't. We're 40 subscribers away from 500, which was my goal when starting, and I set myself the goal for a year to reach it, and we've almost reached it in just under 3 months. The progress we've made so far has been incredible. I like the active comment section, and all of you are to thank. There's something special about being able to have a lot of fun, be entertained, and learn something so you're not just wasting your time. I think that's what we're kind of building here as a community. No sense in stopping now. Let's keep up the good work. In case this is your first time on the channel, your first time watching in a while, we started a new zoo recently. It's based on primate conservation, and this area is called the Rainforest. It's our first and so far only exhibit. It's home to 9 exhibit species, including 6 insects and 3 frogs, 3 species of lemurs, and of course our mandrills, which we've already seen. As soon as you walk in on the left, here are 3 frog species. We have 2 poison dart frog variants, and then American bullfrogs. They're quite large compared to the others. They're already completely maxed out with the research. If you'd look on the right as soon as you walk in, after you get past the frogs and the plants, you'd have these little trash cans, a donation bin, some conservation and education, and this is where you can actually see our mandrills from the inside. The mandrills have 3 different viewing points, technically 4 if you include this up here. The camera gets a little finicky up here, so bear with me. But up here, on the 2nd story, you can see the mandrills from the upstairs, 2nd story viewing. Continuing on, we have plenty of plant species native to the region. These all come from Africa, and specifically the tropical region where all these species are from. If you'd look on the left currently, this is our ringtail lemur exhibits, although all of them are currently downstairs. I kept the top of this area completely glass. It may get a little bit hot, but these tropical plants need it. Plus, the natural sunlight you can't beat. Continuing on, we have an even larger viewing area of our ring-tailed lemurs, and over here, as soon as you get out of there, you have this, which is sticking up through the floor. If you saw in the intro, you'll know exactly what this is, but in case you don't, we'll leave that as a surprise for later. But for now, we'll just lower it a little bit. Come on. Get over here. Advanced movement. Where are you? Y-axis. Down. Continuing on, we have our red ruffed lemurs. They have an even larger exhibit than our ringtails, and they also have 2-story viewing. Just look how many we have down there. I think we have 15 of them. Yeah, 15, according to the habitat log. If you'd continue on the 2nd story, we have this little loop over here. Another area to view the red ruffed lemurs from. Right below this, we're going to add the exhibit today, which is the black and white ruffled lemurs. And then we have 6 insect habitats right here. Not going to go into specifically what's in there, but just know that there's 6, and they're all from tropical regions. We have some snails, some spiders, some leaf bugs, some centipedes. We have a lot. The reason that we used insects and frogs instead of snakes or lizards or anything of the sorts is because I want to keep this very similar, but not exactly like a reptile house. I want to make a reptile house in our other zoo, so I didn't want to have all of the reptiles here first, so I want to go in fresh. Going back the way we came, this will lead you to the stairs that take you down back to the 1st story. If you go down here, if the camera will allow us, does anybody else get their camera kind of restrictive on console, or is it just me? The only way I found to fix it is to grab an object like this azalea and then you can go forward again. But anyways, this is the first floor viewing of all of the lemurs that we have so far. Over here is the red ruffed. We saw them on the second story already, and there's rocks in front of the door. Maybe that's why the zookeeper can't get in. But this is probably the best exhibit that we've made so far. They really enjoy it, and they have a ton of space to climb. They really like going on the second story too. It's a little bit more uncommon for the ringtails to go up that high, but the red ruffs really enjoy it high up in the trees. If you go over this way, this is the other area where you can see the mandrills from. They also come over here quite frequently. And then this is the other viewing of the ring-tailed lemurs. I don't even know what to say here. We need to find a Pokemon that knows Rock Smash. Over here, this is the ring-tailed lemurs exhibit. It's a staff-only path, so they can be the only ones who get to the doors and it's not crowded. Over here is the most common area where you can see the red-ruffed lemurs. They really like going over there, and I'm not really sure why. And of course, this is going to be where the black and white ruffed lemurs are. They're not going to have a two-story area, since their species don't really like climbing in the trees that much. They stick much closer to the ground. This is a small little food court, and that path that leads back there is to the back of the restroom. I don't know if I showed that. These are the other sides of the frogs. The enclosures aren't two-way. You can see clear through them to the other side, which is where we entered, and then this is the exit. By the end of this episode, I promise this build is going to be 100% finished, so stick around to the end if you want to see how it turns out. And if you really want to, I can be convinced to put this on the workshop in the comments below. I want to talk a little bit now about the future of this zoo in particular, not necessarily the franchise. Remember, we have more than one zoo in this franchise. In fact, the bulk of the series so far has been spent on our zoo in America. The only non-negotiable that I have with this zoo, and sorry if you guys disagree, is that I want to have every species of primate in this zoo eventually. Now that doesn't mean that's all we're going to have in the zoo. For example, this zoo is in South America, so we're likely going to have South American animals in the zoo as well, and maybe a few other exotic animals from around the world. But this is primarily going to be based on primates, and I'm thinking we're going to do a lot of reptiles here as well. Capybaras are going to be a good animal to make semi-recently. We picked up a male and a female gold-rated one right now, but we have plenty in our other zoo. In fact, there's too many of them, so we can honestly just move some of them from our old zoo over to here, and then vice versa. If we get good capybaras here and this zoo is starting to do a little better, we can ship them back. We also just bought 2 orangutans, although they won't have an exhibit for a decent amount of time. We've just spent 4 episodes straight on apes, so we can probably take a break for that after this. In our other zoo, I'd say our main attraction right now is our elephant. The main attraction in this zoo is going to be the gorillas. It's what we're going to be building up to. I say it's about time to get these black and white ruffed lemurs in here. Let's just scurry on over to the animal center. Right here. Open animal storage. We do have a lot of animals left over from our other zoo. Most of the ones we got good deals on. And there's our orangutans. Let's get these guys in. Not in there. Why can't we put them in? Invalid destination. Please don't tell me I made this exhibit wrong and I put stuff over it already. What is wrong with it? Oh. Well, the large gaping hole on the right side of the exhibit would probably do it, but I can't be sure. All we have to do is connect some glass, not wood. Glass, right there. And that should be good. Normally I'd cut this out, but I thought it was kind of funny. Take 2. Back in here, open animal storage, find our lemurs. Right here. 3 of them, a male and 2 females, and it looks like the exhibit is good now. Alright. Now all we do is just speed up time a little bit. This will boost our profit margins. Hopefully nothing bad happens in the meantime that we can't control. Now we just wait for the vets to get here. They should get here any second now. Any second now. There they are. Welcome to your new home, friends. Hopefully they like it here. First thing we have to do is make sure they can't escape, just like usual, but looks like we have a reward. That's cool. Just some cash for getting an extra species in here. They already have semi-decent stats, and they're actually kind of happy with how the exhibit is now. Obviously, we still have to change it, but they don't hate it. That's a good sign. Yeah, their welfare is usually red upon entry. It's yellow for them now. And it looks like they're completely safe in here. They can't escape. I thought they'd be able to climb the wood a little bit. Like most species in this zoo so far, black and white ruffed lemurs are critically endangered. They're from Madagascar, just like our red ruffed and ringtail lemurs we already have. Matter of fact, the three species actually get along quite well in the game and in real life. They have cohabitation in this, and all lemurs are peaceful towards one another. Their needs are exactly the same as the other ones, except they need slightly less climbing space. That's why we made this exhibit just one story, while the others have 2 stories. These lemurs, while still living in the trees, live a little bit closer to the ground. They're the biggest of the 3 lemurs we have so far, so maybe that's why. They're not near as big as mandrills, but they are decently sized for a lemur on Madagascar. Despite their size, like other lemurs, black and white ruffed lemurs would prefer to run away instead of actively choosing to engage in a fight. Unless you're an insect or a piece of fruit, they're completely harmless and wouldn't hurt you. Sadly, what's kept lemurs alive is actually what's making them become endangered to this day. Lemurs have stayed alive for millions and millions of years by hiding in the trees, but now, deforestation is the reason that most lemur species, especially those in Madagascar, are critically endangered. This habitat turned out a little bit different than I thought it was going to. Not trying to spoil anything, but as soon as I started the game up, the lemurs got extremely stressed, so I had to change a lot of the glass to one-way glass. About half of it ends up getting changed, and the lemurs still are a little bit iffy about going up to it. So, I had to make a lot of more thick plants that I haven't had to use yet. Before it's been mostly palm trees and trees that the animals can climb on, but these lemurs living a little closer to the ground don't really want trees that tall, especially since there's a path right above us, so we can't really have that many trees. I had to get creative here and use a few smaller trees and some more low-hanging plants like bushes and even some rocks to make them more comfortable in their environment. To stop an animal from getting stressed, you just have to limit the amount of time it can see the guest. If the guest can see it but it can't see them, it's perfectly fine. That's why a one-way glass, despite being pretty expensive in the early game, is really good for taking care of these animals. Head to the time on screen if you don't want to see the time lapse. Catch up with you soon. While building, I've noticed that these lemurs are a lot more shy than the other two species we have here. I guess that explains why they got stressed so easily at the beginning, but they seem to be adapting to their new habitat well. It just took them a little longer than the other kind, but there's nothing wrong with that. As long as they enjoy it in the end, they're gonna be happy here. Let's get a quick rundown of the habitat and how it turned out. Like I said, most of this is one-way glass. You can actually see in the back how you can't see through the glass like you can in the other exhibits. That's all to keep their stress levels down, and I think it was successful because they haven't been stressed for even a second since. But apparently we have the Black Death going on or something because we have 8 diseased animals. Wait, that can wait. Check this out. This is one of my favorite animations in the entire game. Come on. I don't know why. I just think that's the cutest thing ever. Crazy how intelligent these things are to be able to play with a piano and a keyboard. Look at him go. Mozart out here. We should probably make sure they can't escape though. And it looks like they can climb all the way on the top of their enclosure, but they can't actually get out, which is exactly how I wanted it to work. Now we just need to worry about getting something up here. And I'm thinking that we're going to extend the insect pavilion out a little bit. We only have 6 of them so far up here, and I think we can go for an even 12, or at least get close to it. The question now is, do we cave and add the reptile portion of the house, or do we think that there's enough insects and amphibians to continue not adding reptiles? If we add reptiles, we'd be opening up to Gila monsters, iguanas, I think there's 2 species, and all snakes. But let's check to see what's here. Okay, so the yellow anaconda and the diamondback, those are going to be reptiles. I don't think we have this titan beetle. Let's check to see what we have. We've got a centipede, we've got some sort of spider, the beetle, bug, we've got the leaf bug. Yeah, I don't think we have that titan beetle. Let's pick him up. Obviously, we're not going to be getting that puff adder. We'll get 2 of each, just like normal. I don't think we have this red-kneed tarantula. Mexico is pretty close to Central America, too, which is what this is based off. That's good. Green anaconda we don't need, or not anaconda, iguana. Goliath frog. No females, we'll get them later. These Goliath beetles work, though. I don't think we have these bird eaters either. Gila monster, that's a reptile, and it's a desert reptile at that. Scorpions, we have these cockroaches. We don't want a desert scorpion, and these forest scorpions are all males, so they'll eventually die out, and we'll probably forget about it. I think we already have those newts, although we don't have them displayed. Fire salamander would be great, although unfortunately there's only females. We have these. That is a lot of bullfrogs. How many did we get? Looks like that is a lot of frogs. 1 species that's new, 2, 3. Okay, maybe we will do those newts and other amphibians too, because I think with the Goliath frog and the 2 species of newt, that's 3, and we have 3 new ones already, so that's 6, so we can exactly double this. That worked out perfectly. Now we just need to get the exhibits down, see if we can't place them. Hopefully we didn't make the exhibit too high beneath it. Connect to the path. Come on, don't be difficult, please. No, we don't want it to be that high. What is that aggressive scratching? Did you guys hear that? Black and white ruffed lemurs go crazy. They make funny sounds, too. I really like them. They might be my favorite of the lemurs. Straighten out the path. We'll go right there. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, now we got our 6 exhibits. Now we just need to get the animals in them, and we'll be done. Adding in the exhibit animals is really simple. You just request them to come in, add the exhibit animal themselves, and then just make sure their humidity and temperature is correct. Other than that, you can't really do anything with the exhibit for now until you get some research done. You'd best get on that though, because these things can pile up quick. We have 12 exhibit animals in this zoo currently, and I think we've only researched 2 of them to the fullest extent. We'll have to get on that. I think that's where I'm going to call it for today's episode though. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I sure did. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see the next episode, when this build is finally going to be finished. I know I said it would be finished earlier on in the video, but mid-recording I had a really cool idea, so I promise I won't let you guys down. You gotta trust me on this one though. It'll be up soon. Kingpin out. See you then.